It was colder than usual in Edinburgh that night. The studio had long since closed, but a dim light still shone from the third-floor backstage room. No one knew that Heughan and Caitriona Balfe were still there, just for an unexpected reason. Caitriona stood in front of the wide glass doors, her eyes reflecting the purple sky. The door behind her creaked open. Sam stepped in, his jacket still damp from the outside. "Are you still reading the script?" Sam asked, but his voice sounded like he was probing for something else. Caitriona turned, half smiling, half concealing something. "It's not the script, it's the call." Sam was silent for a few seconds. The atmosphere between them was more awkward than usual, no longer the comfortable silence of close friends on set. He moved closer, his eyes never leaving her. She put the phone down. "Did you get it too? The text today?" Sam let out a long breath. "An anonymous person sent us a picture of us at the party last week. The angle looked like they were standing right behind us." Caitriona nodded. The strange email printout was still on the table. Nothing out of sight, just a matter of when to say it or keep it. No one knew where the picture had come from. She and Sam were just standing next to each other in the corner, laughing, but the look in their eyes in the picture made it seem like they were hiding something. "Who do you think it was?" Sam asked, his voice lower. He put his hand on the edge of the table, close enough to hear his heart beat against his chest. "Not an outsider," Caitriona said quietly. "Someone who was there, maybe one of the crew. Or," she hesitated, "or they've been watching us longer than we thought." Sam looked down at the paper, then back at her. "If this gets out, things will change." "Change in what way?" Caitriona asked again, facing him without avoiding him for the first time. The dim light made it seem like there were only two people in the room, and the words that had never been said. Years of filming together, unconscious shoulder touches, moments behind the camera that everyone had overlooked. All of it suddenly became the fuel for the present moment. Sam was about to say something when the lights suddenly went out. The space was plunged into darkness, with only a little light leaking from the hallway. After a few tense seconds, the door creaked again, but this time it wasn't Sam. A figure stood outside, face unclear, only a reflection cast on the frosted glass. Caitriona whispered, "They followed all the way here. Did you hear that?" Sam moved toward the door, but the figure disappeared before he could touch the handle. There were no footsteps, no sound of the door opening, just an unnatural void and the feeling that something had begun that they couldn't reverse. Caitriona looked at him, as if to say something she had been holding back for years. "If everything comes out, how are you prepared to respond?" Sam smiled slightly, but her eyes were not joking. "Maybe for once, we don't have to act." In the dark hallway, the tiny camera on the wall continued to roll, as if someone was waiting for the last moment of silence to deliver the final blow. Sam closed the door after checking the hallway, but the sound of invisible footsteps continued to echo in his head. He turned to find Caitriona still standing in the middle of the room, her eyes fixed on the darkness beyond the glass. No one said anything for a long time, just the slow rotation of the ceiling fan and the sound of heartbeats mixed with breathing. "We can't stay here much longer," Sam said, but he didn't leave immediately. "If someone is really watching, being together like this will only make things worse." Caitriona didn't object, but she moved closer to the paper on the table and picked it up again. The fine print was clear in the dim light from the emergency lights. "Keep quiet until you can't." She frowned slightly. "They're not just trying to scare us. They're waiting for the right moment. Or they're trying to force us to react," Sam said, his voice low. "If we're scared, they win." Caitriona looked up at him. "And what if we pretend we don't know? What if they have more than that photo?" Sam didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked over to the window where she'd been standing, looking down at the parking lot. His car was still there, but there was a black SUV parked a short distance away with darkened windshields. He wasn't sure if it had been there when he first came in. The phone in his pocket buzzed at that moment. A text message from an unknown number, just 3 words, still watching. Sam took a deep breath and showed her the screen. She didn't look panicked, but her eyes darkened slightly. They want us to know they're around. He turned the screen off, but the message popped up on Caitriona's phone a moment later. Same text. It couldn't be a coincidence. Sam glanced at the clock on the wall. It was just after 1 a.m. So choose, she asked, the words not a challenge but a warning of a turning point. Leave like nothing happened, or find out what's going on before it blows up. I want to choose to make them reveal themselves, Sam said, faster than he thought possible. At least we have control over what happens. Caitriona's eyes flashed with something between curiosity and adventure. She folded the paper and tucked it into her coat pocket. So we give them what they're waiting for. Sam frowned. What you mean? She moved closer to him, the distance between them only a few inches. If they want to see us reckless, let them think we're not hiding anything. A strange silence fell between them. Not out of fear, but as if there was finally no reason to avoid it. Sam looked into her eyes, and just standing still made everything they'd left unsaid come back to them, sharper than the dialogue they'd written in the script. In the distance, the sound of a metal door downstairs was as light as a breeze, but enough for Sam to realize they were no longer alone in the building. He tilted his head toward the hallway. Someone's here. Caitriona didn't seem alarmed. Instead, she walked slowly toward the door, her eyes as if she knew exactly what she was about to do. Sam followed a few steps behind. The emergency lights cast a faint red glow that made the long hallway seem endless. The air felt compressed. At the turn near the stairs, a shadow passed through a small security camera mounted on the ceiling. Sam wasn't sure if it was real or just a feeling. They reached the first floor without turning on the lights, relying only on the light from outside the main glass door. The black SUV was still there, but this time the headlights flickered and then went out, like a deliberate signal. Sam was about to step out when Caitriona grabbed his arm. If we get closer, they'll just take another angle. We don't know who's in there, and we don't know if they're alone. Sam slowed down, but his eyes didn't leave the car. They want us to see them. They want us to know they could show up at any moment. Caitriona looked around and whispered, so instead of coming the way they want, we let them believe we're not afraid. She pulled out her phone, turned on the front camera, and leaned close to Sam, as if to create an intimate selfie that couldn't be misinterpreted in any other way. Sam paused, but didn't leave the frame. She didn't say anything, just leaned her face close to his, so close they could hear their breathing. She took a picture, then turned the camera around and turned toward the window where the headlights flashed again. As a response, no sending, no caption, just saving. Now, Caitriona said as they both looked out into the courtyard, let's see how long they can keep their composure before they reveal themselves. Sam smiled slightly, but his eyes remained sharp. Or before we can drag them into the light. In the distance, a tiny shutter sound was heard, not from their phones. And this time, Sam knew it wasn't a hallucination. The game was on, and nothing would ever be the same again.